The time is upon us. Finally, it is October 6th, and you know what that means? The Monster High live action movie has finally come out on Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus, and we got to talk about it. Hey cuties, PeachY here. Welcome back to a new video, and I cannot wait to talk about the Monster High live action movie. There's so much to talk about. I literally have like a list here that I wrote on this ripped envelope because I'm very resourceful. Thank you very much. I'm being kind to the world using less paper. Let's go. The movie is rated TV, PG TV, so it's a Nickelodeon family movie. It is family friendly. There's no violence. There's no nothing. It's the most tamest as they come. It is directed by Todd Holland, and obviously, as you probably know by now, it is a musical. So it does be warned. It does have dance sequences. It does have music in there. So just be warned, because some people don't like that stuff. In the actual movie, there's only like about 4 or 5 songs perhaps, and the movie's like a normal runtime of 60 minutes, so it's really well sprinkled throughout with the dance sequences, which I think is like a good break of like tension and stuff. So I think the dance sequences and the music is placed very tastefully. It's not overdone. On the official soundtrack, we actually get even more songs, and a lot of these songs are bops. All these songs are really good in their own right, and my favorite songs are Coming Out of the Dark. That's my favorite out of the whole album. Then some other I guess memorable songs that, at least for me, that I still remember is We Are Monster High, Here I Am, Spark, and then This Is Who I Am. So those are some other songs that I really enjoyed, and overall there are 11 songs. The runtime of the album is 26 minutes long, and the actual dance sequences and choreography are done pretty well, in my opinion. At least I feel like it has a lot of energy, and there's even like a sequence where it's in the classroom, they are walking across. They use the tables and desks very cleverly, so I feel like they use the space that's around them very well, and so I feel like it's very well done. Obviously, again, expectations, it's a Nickelodeon movie, so obviously the choreography is not going to be like best Broadway kind of like, it's TV friendly, so choreography is there. It is enough. It has satisfied me as someone who knows basically nothing about choreography. I felt like it was a really cute time. Talking about the actual plot though, so the synopsis is basically that Monster High, Claudine gets into Monster High after a long time of her not fitting in anywhere else in the human world, and then she stumbles upon this big plot, this big plan that might endanger her secret identity, that she is in fact half human as well. So that is basically the plot, if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, but it is not like too hard to guess who is the villain, what is going on. Like, it's not hard to guess. It's pretty much right there. So talking about individual characters here for a bit, Mia Harris as Claudine does a great job of capturing the character that is Claudine, with her sassy kind of like quirky nature, but also kind of being confident and being the leader of the pack. Standout for me personally is Cece Balago as Frankie Stein, who now identifies, in this generation of Monster High, they identify as non-binary, and Cece themselves have referenced Frankie as a trans child. So it's a very inclusive character to have had in a mainstream kids family movie, if you will. So it is a very big step forward for Nickelodeon, Mattel. So I'm very happy that this has happened. It has brought about controversy, but I feel like it does make sense for me. Frankenstein's monster, I feel like it makes sense that they would be non-binary because they're made out of different parts. I feel like it is kind of like writes itself, you know what I mean? Performance by Cece themselves in the actual movie as Frankie, I feel like it's very sweet. It's so joyful. I could feel the energy throughout the screen, and I feel like they are definitely whenever they are on screen, they steal the spotlight. Yes, they do. Next up, we have Naya Damazin as Draculaura. They also did a really good job as portraying Draculaura. At the start, Draculaura is more like cold, standoffish, and then throughout the movie, stuff happens, and then she warms up to Claudine and Frankie. So I feel like she did a very good job at kind of like portraying that facade first and being wary, and then once she lets her guard down, and she shares her true passion with Frankie and Claudine, they really get together and share this bond that makes them BFFs by the end of the movie. So now Cleo, Laguna, especially Laguna, no lines. Like Laguna has like 2 scenes where she speaks. It's very, to be frank, it's very sad. I mean, I get it. It's a 60-minute runtime movie. You know, it's not long. It's not a long movie, especially not enough to incorporate a lot of characters like with Monster High. But I feel like Laguna, she was basically just a sidekick for Cleo. She was literally just a sidekick for Cleo. And speaking of Cleo, it's portrayed by Jey Hologram, and they do a really good job at portraying Cleo and the sassy, kind of like queen bee role. I love the way they played Cleo. I really do love her performance overall. It is Cleo. It is very much Cleo. I love her sassiness. Her bitchiness is very much there. So I feel like they definitely captured Cleo's essence. It is a shame that for Laguna, who's played by Lila Lecomte, by the way, they really just didn't get much to do with the character. Of course, we also have Deuce Gorgon, played by Case Walker. I feel like he did a really good job portraying Deuce as kind of like an outsider who used to be kind of like popular, dating Cleo, and now he's trying to like do over the wrongs he's done and be a new person, be kind of like himself more, you know, be true to himself and kind of like be more open and vulnerable, especially with Claudine. They do share a cute duet. Oh yeah, and Claudine and Deuce are supposed to be like a thing in this movie, or at the very least they're supposed to be like flirting or being into each other, since Cleo and Deuce have broken up. But you know, let me just say, nothing actually happens. Other memorable characters is Lila Fitzgerald as Gulia Yelps. She also has very little screen time, just like with Abby, who's portrayed by Nasiv Sal. She also doesn't have much to do with Abby. Like, again, zero, like even less screen time than Laguna. Like, it's just very sad. But Abby is in the movie. She has like one speaking line and that's it. Heath is in the movie and he's portrayed by Justin Derrickson. But again, he has like, I guess, like more speaking lines. Technically, he's also in the actual classroom dance sequence, so he is more in the movie. But he is also basically just a, you know, glorified background character. And now let's get into the big bad of the movie. Let's get into some spoilers. So this is your spoiler warning. So Mr. Komos is the big evil for this movie. He turns out to be the big villain. So that's a plot twist, because he is obviously the teacher that we get to know in the movie, and then he turns out to be the son of Mr. Hyde. You know, Hyde, Dr. Jekyll, you know, the half human, half monster that there used to be before. In Monster High, they banished him, and so he is the son of Mr. Hyde, and that's why he wanted to get revenge by doing something. The plot is very predictable. Like, at least I saw it coming from a mile away, because obviously when you're setting up a villain, you want to set up a villain, especially a plot twist villain. You want to set him up from the beginning so you actually have some kind of like attachment to the character. And so when the plot twist happens, it makes it even more kind of like frustrating and like, you know, devastating. But because we didn't really get to know Mr. Komos as a character besides like the obvious exposition dump at the beginning, it's kind of like just as it's just kind of like for naughts. It's done for nothing. The plot twist is basically just there to have a villain, and there's also like this creepy writing that happens on the walls in Monster High, and then that's never explained. It's never explained what happened to Claudine's mom. You know, Claudine's mom used to go to Monster High. That's one of the reasons why Claudine wanted to go to Monster High. Never explained what happened to her. Also, like the whole thing of like Mistress Blood, she is very, you know, adequate on saying that, you know, humans are evil. But by the end of the movie, when they find out Claudine is half human, it's like, oh no, all is forgiven. Humans are okay now. Like, it's just kind of like, what? Everything is okay. Claudine stays at school. Dracula has revealed to her dad that, you know, she practices witchcraft, and it's all good. It's all great. Everyone's happy. Kumbaya. And they even soar up to the sky because, you know, Dracula knows magic, and so she can make people levitate now. It's a thing. it's canon. And the big teaser cliffhanger at the very end is someone is looking into like a glass orb, saying that she's the one who will defeat the vampire, whatever magics. Listen, it's obviously setting up a sequel. We don't know who that person is who's saying like the whole thing about the vampires at the very end with like the huge long nails. But they did discuss that there's going to be like a trilogy perhaps, so maybe that will come into play. We shall see. It depends really on how well this movie is received, and if it is, you know, worth it to make more, because it does cost money to make these movies. Overall, I do hope that we get sequels, just because I feel like whether it's good, objectively good or bad, seeing characters that are beloved that you used to grow up with the dolls, the web show, whatever, you know, seeing them on the big screen in live action, it's just something you can't compare. It is something awesome to see, and whatever you may think about this movie, at the very least, we can actually say that we have a live action Monster High movie, which is just, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome, and I actually really enjoyed the movie. So this is my conclusion, basically. I enjoyed the movie. I feel like it was a really good time. You know, it was obviously not perfect. It was predictable at points. You know, music is very strong. Choreography is not like the top tier, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a Nickelodeon family-friendly movie, and that is what it does. It does its job, and it does also manage to incorporate some inclusivity with Frankie Stein and, you know, more body positivity. I feel like it does incorporate a lot of things that are very good, and a lot of messages that are very good for kids to have and to take from this movie. So overall, I will give this movie a 4 out of 5. Just because I do have nostalgia for Monster High, obviously, like most people who's probably watching this video, and I do want to see sequels. Overall, I really enjoy myself, and I hope to see it many more times. So yeah, that was the video. I hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to give me a big thumbs up if you did. Be sure to leave me any thoughts or questions you may have down below, and as always, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't already, so you don't miss out when I post more Monster High doll news, movie news. Well, actually not anymore, because the movie is out, so there's no movie news anymore. Animated series news, because that still hasn't come out. We will talk about that when it comes out, and a bunch more content coming your way daily and keeping you up to date with all the loyalty you love. Stay safe, be kind. I hope this next time. Stay peachy. Kisses.